Today's project, we're going to be working on a 2009 Smartcar, where we're going to be replacing both the front rotors and pads. To get started here, we're going to open up this front piece here. If you're not familiar with these vehicles, your engine is in the back, but we do have an access point up here. So just take these two things on the side, flip those out, then this panel should slide right out. Then come over here and you're going to loosen up this brake reservoir cap. And the reason you need to do this, when we compress those pistons down there on the calipers, it'll cause this fluid to go up in there. We just don't want to blow out any seals, and we want to monitor that as we're compressing the pistons as well. Then we'll jack the vehicle up, and there is a spot marked clearly underneath this fender. We'll jack it up there, support it with a jack stand, then we'll remove the wheel, and it's just going to be a 15 mil. Alright, so now that we have the brakes exposed here, we need to first remove these two 13 mil bolts here, and these are probably going to spin in here. So what you can do is take a 17 mil open end, put it right there, then you'll be able to easily remove that. Then the caliper should slide right off. And we'll use a brake caliper hanger here, and we'll hang this out of the way. You just don't want to have tight tension back here on that hose. Now we're ready to remove the caliper bracket. To do that, you just have an 18 mil here and an 18 mil there. Then remove the bracket. Now we're ready to remove the rotor. To do that, we just have this little T30 here. Just make sure you use a wire brush and get some of that corrosion out of there, because what you don't want to do is if that's stuck in there, you'll put the wrong size in there and you'll end up stripping it out. So make sure you remove that corrosion first. Now, sometimes you get lucky and these will come right off, and other times you got to hit a hammer here to get this off, but eventually it will pop off of there. Alright, so there, and then we'll remove the rotor. Alright, so we'll get our new rotor opened up here. And it's going to come with a little bit of that oil on there. That's to prevent it from rusting. So make sure you take some brake part cleaner there, and you want to spray that off. Then before we install our new rotor on here, just take a wire brush and get a little bit of that corrosion off of there, because you want this to sit in here flush. Then we'll set our new rotor in here. Just make a note of where that T30 goes, because we want to line that up. And just hand thread that in there initially. then gently tighten this up. Don't over tighten this. This doesn't have to be very tight. It's just there to hold the rotor in place. All right, so moving on to the pads. The first thing we need to do is we need to clean up this brake caliper bracket here. And you're going to see in there where those brake pads sit. We want to make sure we clean that up, then we'll spray it off with some brake clean. All right, so now we want to lubricate both the areas here and these guide pins in here. So what you can do is pop this out. You're going to notice in that area there, we need to apply a little bit of brake lube. And the idea on this is that you just want to have it be able to slide in and out so those calipers don't seize up. And make sure when you're pushing it back, just make sure it gets past that lip like that. And we'll add a little brake lube here as well. Then we'll go ahead and install the bracket back on the vehicle. All right, so we'll put our bracket back over here, install the 18 mil bolts. Then we'll tighten those to 115 Nm, or we'll round it up to 85 foot-pounds. Now we're ready to install our pads. Just make a note of the squeal indicators. You're going to have two of these, so one is going to go on this side and one's going to go on the other side. We'll put the squeal indicator on the back side, and we'll put this other one up front here. But before we do that, we're going to put a little brake lube on the outside here as well. And you don't have to get carried away with this. Just put a little in the end there so that pad's able to easily slide in and out. Now we're going to compress the piston back in here, and as I mentioned there before, when we open up that brake reservoir cap, this is a good time to monitor that to make sure nothing's spilling out. But we're going to slowly compress this back in here. I'm going to be using my OTC disc brake caliper tool. I've had this many years and it works great. If you don't have one, you can also use a C-clamp. Just put the old brake pad here and don't put your other part of your C-clamp on the hose. Make sure it's on the caliper, and then slowly compress that back in. All right, so then once that's compressed back in, we'll remove our tool. Then we'll set it over here over top our pads. Just make a note, these clips here, they must get aligned in that notch in there. So just make sure those are sitting in there. Then we'll slide our caliper over the pads. Then install your two 13 mil bolts. Then you're going to tighten these to 30 Nm, or we'll round it up to 23 foot-pounds. All right, so after you get that tightened up, just verify everything looks good here, then repeat that same process on the other side. Once you get done with the other side, don't forget to reattach the brake reservoir cap up there, then you've completed your job here. So hopefully this helped you out. If it did, please give me the thumbs up. If you're interested in more content like this, please hit that subscribe. But again, I hope this helped you out, and thanks for watching.